Welcome back to Jenny's World. Keeping it fresh, keeping it real, and keeping it middle aged. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Details are down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Jenny's World. Hit the subscribe button. Now, what I'm going to do today for this video, I'm going to talk about Love Island. Now, obviously, being new to YouTube, I'm way behind the curve. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to talk about the exits, the departures, what happened there. So, who went first? Ollie. Now, what happened there? He just seemed to be loving it, into Paige, and then all of a sudden, he seemed to kind of like get an epiphany where he wants to get back with his ex-girlfriend. Now, how does that work? I don't know, coincidence or something else going on? We then move on to Connor with a G. Now, did anybody think he was going to get voted off? He and Rebecca were flirting like crazy. She made it clear that she was really into him. So I was not expecting it when she went and chose someone else. Nor was Connor. Did you see his face? At that point, I really felt sorry for the guy. He really thought he had it, and then all of a sudden, he gets kicked out. Now, from my personal perspective, Rebecca is clearly playing the long game. She was just in it for herself, and she just took advantage and just went elsewhere. But what can you do? Connor had his opportunity with Shanice, and he threw that away by choosing Rebecca. And then when it counted, Rebecca didn't want to know. So, was anybody surprised when it came down to Shanice and her vote? Oh my gosh. Between Connor with a G and Naz. Now, everybody must have been thinking that she was going to pick Connor with a G. But I don't know, I kind of like think of the way he treated her, that was never going to happen. And when she started into her speech, we all knew it was over for Connor, because she was clearly talking about Naz. And I must admit, I really like Naz. He's a really nice guy. Shanice is not the one for him, which is clear. But everybody on the island really gets on with him, likes him, and they were really pleased to see that he stayed. So while there might have been a few tears for us not to see Connor with a G out there anymore, I think we were all kind of like relieved that Naz got a second chance and opportunity to find that love. So we saw Connor with a G go. And did anybody see Rebecca shed any tears? Not one. So we move on. Who went next? It was the next Connor. Now this choice came down to Sophie and Connor. And I must admit, I felt that Connor was a right jealous person. Considering that they'd only been together for a few days, he was really possessive of Sophie. Despite there being a contest and they're all in it to win, he just didn't seem to appreciate that she is getting to know other people, and he took things way too seriously. And no surprise, the other islanders thought the same. I must admit, I think people are thinking if he goes, will Sophie follow? But I think it was clear she's in it for the long game as well. So when Connor went and he said he's going to wait for her, in my mind I was thinking, you're going to be waiting a very long time, because I think when she comes out, she will have somebody else. So Connor left, and then we were left with what went on behind, and Sophie in her tears. What should I do? What should I do? And all the girls were being really nice and rallying around her. I'm not sure how genuine the tears were or how genuine her looking upset was, but I kind of like feel as though if she was really that bothered and really cared about Connor, she would have just left as well, or took the next opportunity to leave. So we're down. We had Ollie go very quickly and mysteriously. We then saw Connor with a G go. Yeah, I think he got screwed over by Rebecca, but that's just my fault. And then we saw the other Connor go, which I think I was pleased for him to go, because as much as he was a nice guy, his possessiveness and his jealous rages were just crazy. So the next islander to go, Leanne. Now, what was going on there? Because Leanne and Mike looked set for life. She was like into him, was really pleased when he chose her. She was like sending all the right signals in my view to say that she really cared about him. And all of a sudden, she woke up and had an epiphany. What's going on with these epiphanies? But then she just kept bad-mouthing him. And what's with the ick? Oh my gosh. I just thought, so last night it was all great. And now this morning you can't even stand him to touch you. And you're just moaning and bitching about him behind his back. I was just thinking, this just does not sound right. And it was such a distraction from how she was before. She was just really nice and kind of like shy, and like Mike seemed to be the perfect gentleman with her, and she really seemed to enjoy that. And when he said how he felt about her, she reciprocated those feelings. So to then move on to somebody who couldn't even stand for him to touch her, it just didn't make much sense. But I couldn't actually see what game she was playing or how it would actually benefit her. So she went and told Mike how she felt, and you could generally see that he was really gutted. He did not expect that. He had no idea that the bombshell was coming. And obviously he went and told his boys about it, and they were equally surprised by it. Whereas from the girls' point of view, they're all telling Leanne, no, you've got to go with your heart. You can't be with somebody if it's not right for you. And I agree with that, completely agree. But I just didn't like the way that Leanne went about it. So it's going to be an awkward few days in the Love Island between Mike and Leanne. But it wasn't. Then comes the bombshell that somebody's got to go. And not only that, that the other people on the island had to choose the person to go. So it was that kind of like recoupling, who was going to be chosen. Now, clearly, Leanne was not expecting that, because I think if she had, she wouldn't have told Mike that it was over. So we have a single Sophie, a single Leanne. And I think the way they went about trying to secure their positions between Naz and Mike was like just wrong. More so for Naz, because Demi had only just come onto the scene, and you could tell that Demi really liked Naz, and Naz actually liked her and was looking forward to getting to know her. So for both Sophie and Leanne to try and kind of like put him in a corner in a difficult position to influence his choice without trying to make it seem like they were influencing, which it was blatant. Don't choose her, pick one of us. And I think the pick one of us was Sophie, because Leanne felt that Mike would pick her. Don't know how she got to that conclusion, but that's what I think she thought would happen. So they're kind of like saying to Naz, it's your choice, you've got to do what you've got to do, but I don't think my time's over here and I've got more to give. And I'm just like, Connor, she's gone. Start looking for somebody else. Sophie's not waiting for you. So they had that chat, and then Sophie then went and spoke to Mike, and again, doing the puppy eyes and the, I really don't want to go, I'm having a really nice time, and I don't want to make anybody feel difficult. And I'm sitting there thinking, but you're speaking to the two people you know who have the opportunity to choose you, and you're trying not to make them feel difficult. So the other girls were kind of like seeing what's going on, and I think Shauna had the closest guess to what was going on. But anyway, we went with it, and we saw that the boys had to go and pick their girls, and it got down to, as we all expected, Sophie and Leanne. Now, this was Mike. Mike was the last person to pick up. I knew straight away he was going to go for Sophie. He already made it clear to Sophie that now that it was over with Leanne, he could find someone else. And and so from my perspective, it's always clear. And he did. He chose Sophie. And Leanne, I don't think she was expecting it at all. And again, I don't understand how she wasn't. Because she ditched him, and why would he choose her when she made it clear there was no hope? And isn't that what Love Island's all about? Finding love? Anyway, the decision was made, and I felt sorry for Mike, because I feel as though he's ostracised from the rest of the group simply for not choosing Leanne. But there you go. Leanne obviously went off to do her packing, and she has been moaning, telling the girls, I can't believe he did that, I can't believe he did that. In my head, that's just crazy. And they're all trying to comfort her in some way, but I was just kind of like thinking, whatever. And then you saw Leanne and Mike have a chat, and he's trying to explain, and she's having none of it, and it's like, you did it deliberately to get rid of me. And it's like, he couldn't win. She hated him, thought he did it out of spite, and there you go. My personal view, she got what she deserved. Nothing more. So she left. Mike was kind of like left to one side. I think that everybody kind of like ignored him for a while, especially from the girls' perspectives. But in my view, I think he did what he had to do, and he made the right choice. And and everybody else would just have to live with that, as they did. So I'm going to wrap up here on the departures of those people, and I'm going to come back a bit later to go through where we are up to date. So thank you for watching, and don't forget, keeping it fresh, we're keeping it real, and we're definitely keeping it middle-aged. Goodbye.